My understanding, you mentioned fuel cells. Fuel cells are made in Connecticut by Connecticut workers. Fuel cells are installed in Connecticut by Connecticut workers. Fuel cells are a homegrown industry of Connecticut, Connecticut having many years in the fuel cell business. As a matter of fact, fuel cells made in Connecticut landed on the moon, flew in the Apollo missions, and were in the space shuttle program for years. Can you just talk a little bit about how that's going to play a role with fuel cells that are a homegrown industry in the renewables? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Reed.
Yes, through you, Madam Speaker. You know, fuel cells, I think I said ad nauseum, I was a news reporter years ago, and I had the honor of covering the space shuttle quite a few times. I saw Sally Ride, the first woman, go into space, and I was told when I was at the Kennedy Space Center that, oh, do you know that the fuel cell driving this came from Connecticut? And I felt incredible pride that we were part of something that was innovative and, you know, really propelling discovery. Fuel cells have a past, but they also have a future. And one of the issues we have with the grid is securitizing the grid. We've all had experiences in recent years with Sandy and Irene and power outages, and we're realizing more and more that we need to create more microgrids where you can actually, as they say, island energy so that they can keep communities going and businesses going and hospitals going, even when there are massive power outages. And also the concerns, you know, now we hear about all the hacking and that kind of thing that's going on in these systems. By being able to island it, you can better protect our grid. And so the fuel cells can play an important role in that. They already are. And one of the concerns has been that when these RFPs go out, they haven't been chosen enough. And they right now they're going to be competing with wind turbines. That's, you know, we all love wind turbines, and that's the new thing everybody's looking at. And so we're putting a provision in this bill to help ensure that they have a fair shot at getting chosen as well, and that they get respected and appreciated for all they're going to bring, you know, to our energy universe. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Delnicki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to the proponent, one thing that I learned painfully back in the October snowstorm we had a few years back, when literally the part of the state that I live in the greater Hartford area, was without power for a good week, 7, 8, 9 days. With fuel cells as part of this renewable package, SB 9, you touched on the microgrid concept, and maybe you could expand a little bit more on how that would have been not only beneficial from a renewable standpoint, but also a benefit from the resilience standpoint when you have a situation like we had. So it's basically accomplishing two things: renewables and reliability. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Reed.
Through you, Madam Speaker, yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, I've been to a couple of ribbon cuttings in the past couple of years, one at Wesleyan University, one at Amity High School, my old high school in Woodbridge, where they put fuel cells that also have the ability to capture waste heat. And one of the reasons they were doing that, to create islands of energy, no matter what, was to provide safe places for the residents of those communities in case there was a massive power outage and some kind of an emergency where they needed to go someplace and be able to have reliable power. And so it's really remarkable. I was talking to I think it was a food market of some sort in Springfield a few years ago. They're powered by fuel cells, and when one of the storms hit, they made a fortune. They stayed in business, and they were able to sell and have people come and get, you know, food and all the necessities that they needed. And they said to me when I was talking to them about, you know, the investment. They said this was the best investment we ever made. So there's so many opportunities for safety and security and for business sustainability. And, you know, there are many, many reasons that we should really be protecting and encouraging our fuel cell industry. And you know, I think there are many countries around the world that are trying to woo our fuel cell industry. South Korea is one of them. They have the biggest, I think, fuel cell power plant in the world in South Korea, and they would love to have our fuel cell industry. And our fuel cell industry has said, we love Connecticut. We want to make Connecticut work for us going forward. And so we heard them through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Delnicki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the proponent of the bill. Just a couple of parting comments here. Connecticut is the fuel cell capital of the United States and probably the entire world. And the fact that it is a renewable and will be part of this package, I think speaks to the resilience of the proposal we have in front of us here tonight. And I thank the proponent and the opportunity here, Madam Speaker, to have an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, sir.